Okay, hey everybody, welcome to One Beautiful Game. This is where me and my brother will talk about a football topic and we'll give both sides of the argument for one particular subject. So for this one, we're going to talk about Liverpool and should Brendan Rodgers be fired? Shoaib's going to present the argument that he shouldn't be fired. I'm going to present the argument that he should be. These aren't necessarily our own personal opinions, but we just want to give you the strongest points from each side of the argument, and then you guys can call out which points you felt resonated the most with you and stood out as the best points, and maybe decide one way or the other, or not. You just leave it open. So over to you, Shoaib. Should Brendan Rodgers be fired?
I'm Shoeb. Nice to get talking to you guys. I'm going to be going over why I think Brendan should stay, why we need to be a bit more patient with him. Let's start by acknowledging that Brendan's been here 3 seasons now. He had the first season where we ended up finishing 7th. Second season, we ended up finishing 2nd, almost won the title, so close. And then last season where we ended up 6th and, didn't go so hot. So, first season first, 2012-13. Brendan inherited a decent team. I had the likes of Carragher and Agger and Gerrard and Suarez in it. So he didn't inherit a bad team, but it sorely lacked depth. And what Brendan focused on was bringing in depth, especially in the midfield and the attack. He brought in Joe Allen in the summer and the winter window. He brought in both Sturridge and Coutinho, arguably 2 of his best signings. And we played okay. I think it was a season of transition between an older style of football and new style of football, and Brendan was sort of shaping the team. So I'm not going to judge him too much on it, but I will call out, if you see right here, that the team actually scored 71 goals this season. Why is this significant? Well, let's move to the next slide. In the 13-14 season, we almost won the title. So I don't need to talk about why Brendan was amazing that season because it's kind of obvious. We almost won the title, just a little slip away from it. But what I will say is, look at Arsenal. Arsenal only scored 68 goals, and they came 4th. If the 2012-13 team was playing in the 2013-14 season, obviously we wouldn't want that because we finished 2nd, but we would have come 4th. So maybe his first season wasn't that bad if you actually look at the stats. Maybe it was just a little unlucky. And then obviously we have last season. I think last season was a bit of an anomaly. It's a sort of unfair comparison. Suarez left, and Suarez is pretty much irreplaceable. Gerrard was in a decline, and Sturridge was unfit for the whole season. We basically lost pillars of the team. That's not something you can replace instantly. It's a season of rebuilding. We brought in a ton of new players. They're not all going to instantly gel. And, I don't think it's fair to judge him on that season. I think this season will be much more telling. So, to summarize, I think Brendan is pretty good in the transfer market. He sold both Suarez and Sterling at their peak value. I believe it's going to be their peak value. And he's brought in some really good young talent. He brought in Coutinho and Sturridge. He's brought in more recently Chan and Lallana. He's brought in Benteke now. I think Benteke is going to be great for us. He has a good eye for talent. He also develops talent really well. Sturridge did not succeed at other clubs and has been fantastic for us. Sterling went from being essentially just sort of potential to actual star. And look at the likes of other players. John Flanagan. Where the hell did John Flanagan come from that he suddenly went from youth team potential player to absolute essential part of our almost title winning team? Brendan clearly knows how to work with talent and work with players. Finally, I think Brendan is not scared to make big decisions. I think you could argue letting Gerrard leave was a big decision. You could also argue that he makes big decisions within the season, last season being a good example, where we switched to the 3-5-2 back line, and it changed our record. We were doing terribly, and then suddenly switched to the 3-5-2, and we're 11 in 13 games unbeaten. So I think that Brendan is a good manager. I think we need to be a little more patient, and I think he's going to come good. But I know I'm not right about everything, and I'd say that you probably think you are right about everything, so tell me what you think.
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, you make some really good, valid points. But just to talk about the negative side of Brendan. So he's been here for 3 years, and no Liverpool manager except for Roy Hodgson, has ever not won something at the club in their tenure. So Kenny won the Carling Cup, Rafa, Houllier, Roy Evans, they all won some kind of cup, except for Brendan and except for Roy Hodgson. So that's the kind of company that he's in. He has had enough of a time to bed in a team, formed his own image with his own players. He's got rid of a lot of players, but he hasn't really built the team or made as effective a move in the transfer market as I think you argue. So some of the things I'm going to point out, and this is something from Tony Barrett on Twitter. So he wrote, 13 of the 24 players signed in 2012 to 14 have either left the club permanently or are on loan. I mean, that's over half, which I think is just ridiculous. To have in 3 years people just come and go, like it's just a rotating, wheel of players. Like, it's not a good thing for Liverpool as a club to just bring somebody in 1 year, realize that they made a mistake, and then ship them off on loan or just get rid of them the next year. Why would you even come to Liverpool? I mean, if you're a young player like Thiago Iori, he's come in, he's gone on loan immediately for 2 years, and now he's not even playing. He's again gone out on loan. So there are some good signings in there, but even the ones that you mentioned, Lallana and Allen, I don't think they've really hit the highs of the transfer fee, and I don't think they ever will. The most important point to me is that he's lost the fans. And sure, fans are fickle. They'll change their opinion if we beat Man U 8-0. But 87%, 89% on these screenshots from 2 newspapers, and I mean, they think that he should be fired. And I think it is important to listen not just to the level of noise, but to the amount of noise. A lot of people just don't like him as a person, and they don't like him running Liverpool. I mean, there's a lot of jokes made about his character, not his actual character, but his quotes about where he uses character in his sentences a lot. I might not personally agree with all of this, but I think it's important to know that, as a fan base, they do have some kind of valid opinion on who should be the manager of their team. Whether it's thick or not, there's so much of it that I think it should be apparent that he's lost the fans, I think. Not only that, some really good managers are available. Jurgen Klopp is at 86%. 86% of people in one online poll thought he should take over from Brendan. And again, not my personal opinion or choice, but I think it's valid. I mean, I think he is a good manager. He's out there. He's available. If Brendan can't even get through one bad game this season after our loss to West Ham, without the magnificent amount of fume that was online, I think it's probably worth at least thinking about making a change. And if a world-class manager like Jurgen Klopp or Ancelotti is available, I think it's a good idea to talk to them, and think about making the change. Those are my arguments in favor of getting rid of Brendan now. Let us know what you guys think. We're going to do a quick preview of Man U Liverpool coming up next. So yeah, over to you, Shoeb. Man U Liverpool, what are your thoughts?
Man U Liverpool, so this is Brendan's method to get the fans back. I don't think we'll win 8-0. I'd love for us to win 8-0. What is that? Benteke hat-trick, a Firmino hat-trick, and maybe Lucas getting the other 2 just for kicks. I think it's going to be a game of us trying to get us slowly back. Like, I don't think we're going to go for their throats. I think we're going to be pretty reserved. I think we'll probably set up pretty conservatively. I would imagine he'll set us up with the same back line, even though my personal preference would be to drop Lovren in favor of Sarko.
I think you and the rest of the Liverpool online community and fans in general probably would have the same opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about defense in another one of these, but because we have wildly different views here. But I think it's at Old Trafford. We have some key injuries: Lallana, Henderson, Coutinho suspended. It's going to be difficult. I think that we'll set up.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think one of the key points there is, like, that's our engine, in the midfield. with Henderson and Lallana, Coutinho. These guys are the pressers, the runners. Now Milner and Firmino are definitely like adequate in terms of energy, but I think Lucas doesn't have it, and Chan is maybe just work. Like he has energy and he has ability, but I don't know if he has just the tactical intelligence to play in one of the biggest games in the Premier League. He'll be useful, but as part of the midfield three, I think he could be a big liability if we're not careful. And I think you're right that it's going to be a cautious game. We're away at Old Trafford. What I would like to do is I would like to see Ings come in. I think he provide a lot of pressing and energy, and I think he'd be a good foil for Benteke. Benteke is going to win every single header he ever jumps for in his entire life. And if he falls to Ings, he just needs to dribble and run as fast as he can and just take a shot at De Gea, who's just going to realize that he's on the pitch for the first time in like 8 weeks. And he's going to forget how fast the Premier League is going to be. So I think a quick, early, fast start, long ball to Benteke, run really fast, Ings and Firmino. Let's get 18 shots on De Gea, so he's surprised, and let's get an early goal and just sit back for the rest of the time and let James Milner run to the ground while pressing the hell out of all the opponents. That's what I think. Let us know what you guys think. Shoeb, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I just want to add, I don't really care if it's Ings up front. I want someone up front with Benteke, and I want Benteke to be glued to Blind. I think giving Blind hell as his new centre-back position is going to be key. My prediction, probably a 1-1 draw. What's your prediction, Zain?
Yeah, I'm the eternal optimist when it comes to Liverpool games, and I think, only ever predict a win. And with this game, I will also predict a 1-0 early goal, sit back and defend win. I think it's going to be either Benteke or Ings, or they're going to be involved in it in some place. That's my heart. My mind is telling me that we have Rooney and Depay running at Lovren and Skirtle, and I think that's scary as hell, and we're likely going to concede something. So heart 1-0, but I think you have the more logical, reasonable 1-1. So I think you're going to be right.
Cool. Well, let's hope we channel the spirit of Rafa.
Of what?
Of Rafa, 1-0 win. Channel the Rafa spirit.
Oh, this, I can't take mentioning Rafa. No. Now. That's another video. The pros and cons of Rafa coming up next.